Hallo miteinander, I'm Gesche6 and this is Touhou Endless Dream. What is up with the mysterious clown piece? Making Sohyo great again, she told us. Now we know who she's voting for. It's obviously her lady Hekatia. Thanks to the Torch of Insanity, we were able to enter the Sphere of Darkness safely and pick a level from within. That's the big turning point of our adventure. Last episode, we would only flee from the darkness. Of course, the day won't be saved if we keep running from our problems. For every stage we clear from now on, a small amount of the sphere will be illuminated. Perhaps if it's bright enough, something new and meaningful may happen. Now that we are somewhat accustomed to the gameplay loop, I wanted to tell you a little more about the history of Touhou Endless Dream. It's a very humble title, pricing itself way below the Touhou fangame average. It is in fact so humble that it started out as an early access game. I personally was very late to the party and don't know what it was like before version 1.0, but I did notice that folks were very positive and optimistic about it from the very start. Still, it's possible Endless Dream was a little too hasty in getting rid of its early access tag. More on that in a few minutes. Right now we must deal with a berserking Cheerno. She is likely to be encountered on a frozen river map, and I'd place her prowess on a solid medium difficulty. From phase 2 onward, she brandishes her watermelon sword. It's a cute nod to the fan joke of Advent Cheerno, a parody manga where she poses as Cloud Strife. I seem to run into Cheerno the rarest of all bosses. Maybe that's why I'm having a tougher time with her. Introducing Perfect Freeze in the last phase, I'd say the fight actually becomes easier as the Ice Fairy stands still during the cast. She was more dangerous when pressuring us in melee. Among these three items, Yuka's double sparking parasol is an effortless winner. It's a powerful, easy to adjust blast that doesn't even have that long of a cooldown. Now here's someone I'm happy to see, as Remelia's event might be the best of them all and is not guaranteed to appear on a run. The Vampirus gifts you a choice of snacks that will fundamentally change a part of your move set. The most interesting thing about this boon is that the description of any effect will be obscured until you've picked it once in a previous run. It's really motivating to approach Remelia with different characters and reveal these effects over time. We have picked the cake over wine and pastries, receiving Marissa's Comet Dash, and boy is it glorious! Not only does it travel further than the standard dash, but it'll pierce through enemies and hit them hard. Our loadout has gone from solidly adequate to deliciously overpowered, and I feel it went there within the span of only 3 stages or so. A lot of roguelikes do this where acquiring only a few tools can make a huge difference, and when that happens to you, it's really empowering and satisfying. Going back to a sadly more pessimistic subject, even though Endless Dream is on version 1.0, the translation feels unfinished. Some items like Sagome's wing are missing descriptions. There are also spacing errors and texts that are defaulting to Chinese. Objectively, Endless Dream is probably in a better state than it ever has been, yet recent reviews are giving it a lot less praise. If it still said something like version 0.98, folks would have more faith that these blemishes are going to get fixed. The impression we have now is of course that development has jumped ship. It's a little ironic, as the stereotype is that so many early access games are staying in that state for an unbearably long time. During the second half of the game, all arenas have special effects. Ours is currently super armor for enemies. The most intrusive one that I know of is periodic time stopping. It switches from only freezing you to only the enemies and back. Our next location is a pleasant one. There is one thing you should watch out for when dealing with Renosuke. He will get annoyed if you shoot him and even pack up his shop for the remainder of the playthrough if you don't stop and behave. What I didn't know before this very recording is that there's a more opportunistic side to this. Renosuke can be damaged and eventually murdered. Yes, in a fashion more drastic than Marissa's usual, we have committed armed robbery. Not only can we collect a boss level quality drop, we can even pilfer the remaining stock. I wanted to demonstrate getting kicked from the store as a joke to you. I didn't imagine I would discover this feature. Daiyousei is now here to avenge her fallen friend Cheerno. Unlike previous combatants, the nameless Greater Fairy can be described as a supporter archetype, a cheerleader for other enemies. The fandom often seems to have that image of her. Touhou Lost Word, for example, also classes her as support. Daiyousei mostly gives herself and enemies protective shields, but can also debuff the player to prohibit them from attacking. A defensive opponent through and through, yet with how we are steamrolling through everything, she only delayed the inevitable. Once again, we grab the lowest quality equipment. The Tattered Book of Magic is another exception you should value over most items, as it comes with 7 loose book pages for upgrades at Pachuli's. On the map, we saw that Rumia was revealed at the center of the sphere. We could have challenged her already, but I was hoping to find another special event. The one we never saw was Yuyuko's, who will gift you the best consumables of the game. Now let's face the final boss. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Well, not exactly. You can find 3 diary pages around Gensokyo, and if you bring them all, Rumia's encounter will be affected. I deliberately did not get them, as we wouldn't be able to bring home any spoils from this run if I did. I cannot really explain why. It seems like another oversight that should have been polished. Anyway, phase 1 of the fight was easy enough, but it gets trickier in the second as Rumia launches herself and creates long lines of darkness bullets. Our many tools, like Yuka's parasol, help us delete them, and our newest trick, Kogasa's umbrella, keeps us safe by blocking the attacks that do reach us. With phase 3, Rumia has gone full eldritch. The darkness around her wiggles like otherworldly tentacles. She has also started imitating Marissa with her own darkness spark. What we must do then is circle around our foe. Washing machining, as players of Danmaku games often call it. Our vision goes white, meaning that the time loop the Gensokians are caught in is restarting. Rumia will go on another rampage soon. That's where the mentioned diary pages come into play. I'd recommend getting the secret ending once for the novelty of it, but for our purposes, I think a standard playthrough was the better choice. So how does this roguelite twin-stick shooter fare? I'd say very competently. The gameplay is solid, and it's got a good sense of unpredictability. It is soured a little by technical issues, especially because it seems they would be so easy to fix. With that, Daiyousei, this was Touhou Endless Dream. Bis bald!